I remember playing a Toy Story PlayStation game and finding that difficult.
I think I played that one. Wasn't there a level where you were in the basement?
I think there was an attic level, but there probably was. I bet the whole house was playable.
Probably.
Yeah.
I remember playing a game like that. I think I rented it from... Where would I have rented it from? Blockbuster?
Jinx!
Whoa. Yeah, it probably would have been Blockbuster.
Yeah.
We didn't rent a lot from Blockbuster growing up.
Yeah, neither did we. It was more expensive than the local place.
Yep.
Yeah. The local place was open for a lot longer than Blockbuster was as well.
It made sense for games, but I still didn't rent that many games from Blockbuster. Even though, like, I don't know, it was like, what, a 5-night or 5-day rental, but it was only like $6, which really isn't that expensive. But I guess when you compare it to, like, you know, like a local, like the grocery store across from my parents' house also rented out games and movies, and it was like $1.50 for like 2 days.
Yeah, which $5 is a lot more than $1.50, especially when you're like 6 or 7.
I don't understand. I personally don't understand why you would need a movie for 5 days.
Well, when you were a kid, did you not watch the same movie over and over again?
Well, I did, but those are the movies that I owned.
So you would not rent a movie and then watch it multiple times?
No, I would watch it once and then think like, I guess I'm done. And if I was really bored, then I would put it back in the VCR and then watch it again.
Well, but I guess I'm not talking like right after you watch it. I mean, like the next day. You never did that?
No, I was like, I watched the movie, I'm done, and that's it. It also probably never occurred to me
that you could watch it again.
That I could watch it again until it was rented again, because there was a Double Dragon VHS tape that I rented from a gas station, because there was a gas station across from my parents' house that also rented out videos. And I think when they stopped, the grocery store started doing it.
Imagine being a gas station like attendant and then finding out that you have to also now be keep track of this video rental library. Like you have to take people's phone numbers and like explain to them like how they have to bring it back at a certain point. I feel like that'd be very annoying as a gas station attendant.
Yeah. But also I feel like they have a lot less to do back then than they probably do now.
Well,
or maybe I'm just imagining things. I don't know. Part of me just feels like there's just probably a lot of like, I don't know, dumb, stupid, busy work that people that work at a gas station have to do now that they probably didn't 20 years ago.
Take pictures for the Exxon Instagram.
Yeah. Something like that. Count cigarettes.
Pour all of the cigarettes out of their boxes and count them and then put them back into their correct boxes.
That's just a fun game that they play.
Yeah. If you win, you get a box of cigarettes. I thought I had something else to say about video rental. Oh, I remember watching videos over and over again when I rented them, specifically if I was sick. Like I remember specifically I rented Harry Potter 2, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, and watching that movie like 4 times in the span of like 2 days, just because I was like sick and home from school. Like, I don't know how I could do that, because now if I watch a movie, I can't watch it again for like another like 6 months to a year. And even then, sometimes I'm like, oh, I've seen this recently. It's going to be like years in between to be enjoyable.
That's kind of how I felt earlier today. My girlfriend Caitlin was watching Toy Story 4. I felt like she had just watched that movie, but I think it was maybe like
when it came out.
It was definitely like late last year, so almost a year ago. But it feels like, because I remember I'm looking at the TV and thinking like, this looks like I watched this a month ago. So yeah, I kind of get that. There's just a long buffer time now between like, oh, I can watch this movie again.
What did you think of Toy Story 4?
I thought it was kind of unnecessary.
I agree. Toy Story 3 did a really good job closing off the
It was
trilogy.
wrapped up. It was nice. It was great. I don't know why you needed to make a 4th one, other than like, well, why not?
Yeah. I mean, it was the character of Forky was funny. because he's just like, it's like, what happens if you make trash into a toy? Honestly, like, I really liked Toy Story 1. And then Toy Story 2 was the one that I had growing up, like on VHS. So I really liked that one. And I have like a huge, like, nostalgic soft spot for it. And I recently watched that one again for the first time in probably like 10 years. And I thought it held up really good. It was like really satisfying to watch, and all the same like feelings were there like when I watched it as a kid, and it holds up as a good movie, I think.
Wait, this is 2?
Number 2. And 3 was fine. I remember watching it when it came out when I was in high school, and I remember thinking it was a good movie, and it could very well just be the fact that like the other ones came out when I was a kid, and maybe kids now think about that with these 2 new ones. But I just didn't think they held the same weight as the first 2.
Toy Story 3 and I think this is just something that this is just like a really unique thing that I think maybe like no other, I don't know, company, movie studio, I don't know what the right word is, can really do. But because Toy Story 3 came out when we were like in late high school, I think, because we were the same age as Andy. Like we're gonna go to college. It's like that. It's like the right time.
That's
true. Monsters University came out when we were in college, and I thought that was like, I wonder how deliberate that was.
Like trying to really market to the kids who grew up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've never really thought about it like that. And when I saw Monsters University, I've still only seen it the once. I don't really, I didn't think it was that great. It seemed to me like it was just a normal college movie, but they had just put Mike and Sully in it.
I think that was kind of the point, was I wanted to make a college movie. Because I think I remember reading or hearing an interview about, or like with someone from Disney, or maybe it was an article, some sort of whatever. They were talking about like a checklist of kinds of movies that they could make.
Mm-hmm.
And they were mentioning that like a college movie was one that they just could not do. Because you can't, like Disney cannot make a typical college movie.
Right. You couldn't have like a Pixar girl like pulling up her top or something like that. Like, it's like how it's done in most
you're not going to see
movies.
Well, probably, I don't know, maybe this will change one day, but you're probably not going to see Buzz doing a keg stand.
Oh God, I want to see that so bad.
And he's still a little confused about like Earth things, and he's like, what is this space root beer? Okay, points his laser at it, busts a hole in it, and the only way he can repair it is to chug the whole thing. Then he goes to a frat house and has to do his pledge week, where he's like crawling on his knees. I don't know. I never did a pledge week. I didn't join a frat house. Me neither. And I'm glad I didn't.
Me too.
I would have nothing. I would have gained nothing.
No, you would have lost money and gained probably bad friends.
Yep. That's
a
true.
snap judgment that I'm going to make, and I stand by. This is another one of Paul's snap judgments that I stand by. That's going to be a segment I do.
Do you think we should? I was actually going to bring this up at some point. Do you think we should have segments?
Yes.
Just like at the end of the show, like they do on How Did This Get Played or Doughboys?
Yeah.
They just have like a little game they play for a little bit.
I think that'd be good. And I think having a snap judgment segment from me is a thing I'm going to do. Kind of like, speaking of Doughboys, Spoon Man's Bite of the Night. I want to have a Paul's snap judgment that I stand by.
You got to do it every episode now.
I know. I'll do it probably about as well as Mike Mitchell does his Bite of the Night.
I mean, you already forgot your catchphrase.
Oh, fuck. What was it? I heard it the other day and I was like, oh, yeah. It wasn't a good catchphrase, though.
Something about not being hungry, but you're looking for food.
Oh, yeah. I am hungry, but I'm not looking for food. Is that what it was?
Something like that.
My name is Paul, and I'm not hungry, but I am looking for food. No, I am hungry, but I'm not looking for food. Oh, because I think I said it because you talked about food you had, and I was trying to convey to you that I did not want to eat it, but I am hungry.
All right. And on that note, let's just start the show. Welcome to episode 3 of the Nostalgia Entertainment System. I'm your host, Josh.
And I'm Paul.
Wow.
And
I think I do that every time.
You say your name and then I say my name and you say wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
In any case, I got a new board and there's little sound pads on it. So I've included some nice sounds such as
My wife.
and
Wow, is very nice.
on top of, and you can't forget about, and more importantly,
It's upsetting how much the fart sounds genuinely just make me laugh.
they're very funny, especially because this one is called Fart with Reverb. I don't know how often I'm really going to be using these sound pads, but it's nice to know that we have the option.
Yeah, no, I thought maybe all of them were going to be Borat, which I also would have been okay with.
Yeah, well, gotta have some variety in there. Anyway, let's move on to today's episode. This week's about PBS Kids.
Yeah, we're talking Zoom, we're talking
Zaboomafoo,
we're talking Cyberchase,
Thomas the Tank Engine,
Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers,
Between the Lions,
Clifford the Big Red Dog,
Dragon Tales,
and that's it.
nothing else.
Nothing else.
We're gonna cut it right there.
Yeah, so if you remember something else that's not one of those things, you go straight to hell, okay? You write in our email, nostalgiasystempodcast@gmail.com. You email us and say, I remember this show too. Don't. Or do and say, and I'm kicking myself straight to hell. Unless you have another show. We probably would.
I don't know.
If anybody emailed us.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any emails from anyone, but also only one episode has been out as of recording this. So
That's fair. And only for a few days.
that's true. So hopefully, when this episode airs, there'll be more stuff
Yeah, I hope
for us
so.
to go through and I don't know. We'll read your comments on air. Not that it's on air, but
No.
on the podcast.
We'll say your name.
Only
you
if you
want.
want us to.
Yeah.
I guess before there, I don't know. There's something else. A couple other things I wanted to bring up, kind of before we get into PBS Kids, since I don't know. We usually split these episodes down the middle between unrelated conversation and then the episode.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday, I watched the PlayStation 5 Showcase.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I have totally lost count of how many PlayStations there have been.
we're gonna hit 5 this year.
Well, I figured that when you said this, but
Well, just making it clear, just in case.
okay.
But I was watching like all of the new games and the trailers and everything for them, and it's a feeling I don't think I felt that excited for something in a very long time.
Oh, so you think it's gonna be good?
Yeah, like all the Final Fantasy 16 is going to come out. There's going to be a new God of War. The new Spider-Man with Miles Morales is going to probably be a really cool game.
From Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
I mean,
I know who Spider-Man is.
yeah, it's a new Spider-Man game,
Cool.
but it looked really fun, and it reminded me of kind of what we were talking about in the first episode. Like when I would be in the magazine aisle and I would just like flip through gaming magazines.
Mm-hmm.
I was just really excited, like reading articles and looking at pictures of games that like were going to come out. Felt the same way. And I just like felt so excited.
Nice.
It's like, oh, it's going to be so cool. And I'm just like sitting in my chair, big smile on my face. Like, yeah, video games. I don't know. Just wanted to share that. I
Nice.
felt it was exciting. Haven't felt that way in a while. And to contrast that, I watched a Nintendo showcase thing today.
Mm-hmm.
Very underwhelming.
Really?
Yeah.
I always think those two should be flip-flopped. Like, I always think of Nintendo as something putting out really good quality stuff, and PlayStation being sort of like, eh.
To be fair, it was a like partner showcase, so it wasn't Nintendo games. It was just games coming to Switch from other developers.
Mm-hmm.
But that shouldn't be a reason for, you know, me to. I can still get excited about that. In fact, they showed a new Monster Hunter game, and I'm like, oh, that could be interesting. But man, watching that Spider-Man trailer, just felt so cool. He did the thing that
Did you web yourself?
a couple times.
Okay.
He did that thing that what's his name? The the other Spider-Man movie guy. What's his name?
Toby Maguire.
Yeah. He did that thing where, remember when he was in between a bus and a bridge, or just the bridge, and he like webbed them and then pulled them together?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Miles did the same thing in this trailer. I was like, oh, I want, like, this bridge is falling apart. He's going to do the thing. He did the thing.
Wow.
It was so exciting. Even though I knew it was going to happen and I was anticipating it happening, I was like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And he did it.
Wow. I do like that. That is a cool
move.
cool image, cool move. You got to be super strong to do it.
Mm-hmm. And I know this is because I haven't read the Miles Morales comics.
Mm-hmm.
Or really, I was going to say any Spider-Man comic, but that's not true because I have some here. But he has like an electric shock power.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought he could just turn invisible.
What?
Did you not watch Into the Spider-Verse? You made that reference earlier. And that's a big part of the movie.
I forgot that he turned invisible.
Yeah.
It's been like a year or two since I've seen it.
Okay. That was my favorite movie that year.
I mostly remember Peter Parker being fat.
Yep.
That's the part that really stuck out to me.
He's a little schlub.
Yeah. I liked that.
Couldn't quite fit into a suit.
Mm-hmm. And he's wearing a coat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah. A little sad, but still funny.
And John Mulaney's SpiderPig.
Uh-huh.
Or Pig Spider-Man. Was he SpiderPig? I know that SpiderPig is from, well, not necessarily from, but I know Homer names his pig SpiderPig for a little while in the Simpsons movie. Because Homer's dream sequence, there's a whole SpiderPig song during his like, oh, fuck. What's the word? When he's having his, not hallucination. He's like
his vision.
His vision. I want to say it starts with an N.
How about
Epiphany?
Epiphany.
His epiphany
does not start with an N.
No, but there's an N in it. It was his epiphany in the Simpsons movie.
Epiphany.
Yeah. Sorry, I very much derailed us. You said you had a couple things to talk about. You talked about the PlayStation.
I don't remember the other one.
Did you have a PlayStation growing up? You had an N64, right?
I did have an N64, and then eventually we got a PlayStation. In fact...
Whoa.
Yeah, I got a PlayStation sound on this thing too.
That is pretty cool. My PlayStation broke fairly early on as a child, which was a bummer.
I'm pretty sure mine still works. I also got the slim version.
Oh, I think ours was the slim version too.
I actually don't know. I don't think we've ever talked about like what PlayStation games you've played other than Star Wars Episode 1.
Oh, well, let me tell you, Josh. When I first got it, I got it for Christmas in 2001. No, it was Christmas 2000. I got a PlayStation. And the games that my parents bought us were Need for Speed. I don't remember which one. It might have been Hot Pursuit. It might not have been Hot Pursuit. But we also got NFL Madden 2000, I think. And I got A Bug's Life.
Oh, I remember playing that game.
Yeah. I loved that game until I lost it.
Oh, no.
Which, this is a weird thing. My parents made us put the PlayStation in the basement because that's where they want us to play video games. But our basement is not a finished basement there. So it's like a dusty, like cobwebby, like dirt cellar with like a tiny TV and our PlayStation at the time. And so that year I lost A Bug's Life for probably like 10 years. 10 years later, we're cleaning up in the basement and we lifted up this like big, like ugly, like foamy carpet kind of thing. And directly in the center underneath it is my Bug's Life game. I asked my older brother, who is a likely person to have hidden that game because he knew I loved it. And he claims to not remember hiding it, which I believe him because I feel like he would tell me now since we're like, you know, adults with real jobs. But that was weird. And I also had Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which I think might have been my favorite game, but I was not good at it. And I never got past level 4, which was the Naboo level. I even used the cheat code to get to level 5, because sometimes, you can just like cheat to get past the hard part.
Yeah, just input a password or something.
Yeah. No, level 5 is impossible as well when you're on Tatooine and Mos Eisley. Josh, I have to pee pretty bad.
All right.
Take a break.
Let's take a break, and we'll come back with some PBS Kids.
PBS Kids.
Doink. PBS Kids. Clifford is funded in part by a ready-to-learn grant from the U.S. Department of Education through the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
To learn more about Sesame Street, visit us at pbskids.org.
And by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. And by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
How was it?
My pee?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Nice. I think I might structure this episode a little differently, because normally we'll go through the whole history of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, usually have like anecdotal stuff kind of at the end. This time, because I think there's not that much to really talk about. I mostly just have like timeline kind of stuff.
Sure.
I think it'd be nice to like go over some brief stuff, and then I'll probably list off some shows, and then we can talk about if we remember watching any of them or any like associated memories with that. I think
Sure.
that's probably a nice way to go about doing this episode. But before we go into any of that, and I know we've talked about this before, but your PBS station and my PBS station play different shows at different times.
Yes. Which I imagine is a thing all across the country.
Yes. I also recently remembered from like looking up some stuff for this episode that the PBS station for Kalispell came out of Spokane.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wait, so you didn't see all the Montana PBS things?
I think we had, well, maybe not. No, because I remember on so many shows that I would watch, there would be like sponsorships from like STCU, which is like the Spokane or Seattle Teachers Credit Union.
Whoa.
I would get, there would be sponsorships and bumpers for like Riverside Park in Spokane. And a bunch of like that kind of stuff, which I always thought was weird. It's like, I don't live there. I wonder why I'm getting this. But you probably would have gotten Montana centric sponsors and like bumpers and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, growing up in Helena, it was all Montana PBS. Like I remember growing up thinking that PBS was, I didn't really know it was like a national thing. Even I thought it was like a Montana thing because they talked about Montana PBS so much.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Cause we had, do you remember the station code for your PBS?
I do not. I don't remember the
Ours
station
was
code.
KSPS. Came out of Spokane. Really weird. Now that I like really think about it.
Can you think of a single PBS Kids show that has a fart joke in it? I cannot.
Arthur's got to have at least one kind of like toilet humor, right? Even if it's very literal.
Maybe like when they're talking about like his baby sister Kate with her diaper. I feel like that's as far as they went with potty humor.
Yeah, I don't think.
Or maybe when Arthur's pants were ripping. That's like the closest I think they came to it.
Yeah, that was more of like an underwear joke, I think, than a fart joke. I don't know. Maybe they weren't allowed to have a crass humor.
Yeah, maybe not.
Which would make sense. That's not, I wouldn't expect that from that network.
From PBS. Yeah, I wouldn't expect it either. I was just genuinely more like thinking like, did they ever do that? Like, good for them if not, because that's a low bar and easy to get to. So they would have to be trying harder to not do fart jokes.
That is true. What, I guess in general, like, what kind of like TV watching habits did you have?
So I used to get up. So I have a younger brother. He's 5 years younger than I am. So it's a pretty big difference. But him and I would both get up around 7-ish o'clock, and he would always watch Clifford the Big Red Dog.
At 7.
At 7. So
Wow.
for us, I guess I should go into our wake up schedule. So we would get up around 7. 7 to 7:30 was Clifford. And then after that, we would like eat breakfast and get ready for school. And then we would go to school, like walk, ride our bikes, or get driven by our parents and get there. School started at like 8:30. But so how it worked is we would watch Clifford at like 7. And I remember specifically thinking that Clifford was a show for babies, but I would still watch it every fucking day because I was like that age where everything was for babies, but I would still watch it and enjoy it. So we'd watch Clifford from 7 to 7:30. Then 7:30 to 8 was Between the Lions, which I didn't watch very much. I
love that show.
Occasional. Now I think, looking back on it, I do think there are things where I'm like, wow, that's actually like really funny or really clever. Like, that's cool that they did that. But as a kid, I was like, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah, wow. Because for me, both of those shows were on later in the day.
Interesting.
Like I remember Clifford being on at like 10 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
10:30, somewhere around there, or maybe 9. Definitely later than 7. And Between the Lions was on at 11. Like and I also remember PBS Kids shows not starting until like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Like they didn't start that early.
Oh, so you couldn't watch it before you
But
went
I'm
to
wondering now if that has to do with the time difference.
school. Oh, because of Spokane versus Helena.
yeah.
That is probably it, honestly.
Does that math check out? Because if it's playing at 9 o'clock here, it would be it's 1 hour before, so it would be like 8 o'clock in Spokane.
Yeah,
So I guess that kind of checks out.
that kind of does.
I don't know. Shows could have also started at 8, and I just never watched them because
You probably were off to school at that point.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if they did start that early, then I wouldn't have known. But I guess that math would have checked out from it being broadcast from a different time zone.
Right. I don't remember what was on from 8 to 8:30 or even 8 to 9. I don't know what it was. But I know at like 9 you had Dragon Tales, which was another baby show that I was like, I'll watch this, but I'm not a baby, even though it was just genuinely made for kids my age. And then after Dragon Tales was Caillou, which Caillou is one of the shows that I was like, this is a show for babies. And now as an adult, I'm like, yes, that is a show for babies. And also, fuck Caillou.
Yeah, no, for real. Fuck that little kid.
He is. It was such a relief to me as an adult finding out on the internet that other people also
No
hate
one
Caillou.
likes him, and
He's
for good
terrible.
reason.
No, he's very whiny. He's a poorly misbehaved child, and his parents do not discipline him at all. It's just everything about it is god awful.
Caillou, if Caillou were around today, there would be an episode about him not wanting to wear a mask.
Yeah. And then the episode would end with his parents being like, that's okay. You don't have to wear a mask. It's like somebody made Charlie Brown, but they wanted Charlie Brown to not be funny and to also be unlikable.
They pretty much just thought, oh, a popular bald kid character.
Yeah.
That's all you need. Do you have any favorite shows that you would watch on PBS Kids? Any that like you like for sure? Like, nope, it's this time. I gotta watch this.
Gotta tune in.
Yeah.
So when I was really young, probably like 1st to 2nd grade, I really liked Zoom. Like I wanted to be on Zoom.
I think every kid wanted to be on Zoom.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool to like do the Zoom dance, and then get your own little like personalized like I'm Paul, and then like do my Zoom dance and tell my bad jokes and talk and ubby-dubby.
Oh yeah, ubby-dubby.
Which to this day I don't remember really what it was. It's like Pig Latin but different.
Yeah, you just put a ubba or whatever, and like after a vowel.
I don't know.
Cub and yabu spubby, abba bubby dubba bubby.
Whoa. You're
Yep.
fluent.
Yabba.
Whoa.
Well, might as well just get a little bit into the history of PBS Kids then.
Yeah.
PBS started out as the NET, which was National Educational Television. And on that network channel, I don't really know, is where we get two classics. We get Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street. Just like two long-standing, very well-known, universally watched for at least children in America, and at this point, probably children around the world.
Both solid shows.
Both solid shows.
Yeah, definitely. I think as a younger kid, I really liked, I think I forgot about those two when I was talking about my schedule. I think they probably fit in somewhere at like 9 or 9:30.
Mr. Rogers was an after school show for me. I remember that it was on, I think it was on at 3 or 3:30. And Sesame Street was, I never watched Sesame Street except during the summer because it was on at 10 a.m. I was already in school.
That was a similar time for us. It was like 9:30 or something like that. But both were good, and both, I remember there were some parts of both where I was like, oh, this is really interesting, even as like an older kid.
The original like end theme to Sesame Street, so good.
A lot of the music for PBS Kids shows was like just really, really good.
Oh yeah.
Like the Arthur song by Ziggy Marley, like it's much better than like anything from like Nickelodeon or like any other kids show of the era that I can think of.
I don't know. I don't really know about that. I think it's all good. But listen to this. This is the earlier, I guess around the time that we were. This is credited as from the year 2000, season 31.
Oh.
End credits. What a great song.
Truly.
Love it. What a fantastic beat. And then I don't know, I feel like just because of when that aired and when they replaced it, like that was really early childhood for me, was hearing that particular ending theme song. But moving on, October 5, 1970, NET officially becomes PBS. And with it, they incorporate a dedicated programming block called 4Kids. Not to be confused with 4Kids Entertainment, which is notorious for butchering any sort of anime for Western audiences, included to, but not including, but not limited to. Is that how the phrase goes?
Yeah.
Yeah. However that phrase goes, replacing rice balls in Pokemon with jelly donuts and removing any sort of cleavage or boobs, and replacing in almost every episode of One Piece Sanji's cigarette with a lollipop, which that one does make sense.
Yeah.
But a lot of others don't. Very fun. If you're interested in learning about that, very fun rabbit hole to go to YouTube and search like 4Kids censorship. That's the number 4. Find some interesting stuff. But not to be confused with that, this is the normal FOR kids. We still get the two staples, Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, but this is also when we start to get Zoom. We'll get the Electric Company. We'll get Thomas the Tank Engine.
Was Zoom really on for that long?
Yeah, Zoom was on for way longer than I think you and I and maybe a lot of other people think.
Wow, that's bonkers.
That's also when we get Reading Rainbow and Big Comfy Couch. I'm also like segmenting these in like milestones. So like Zoom didn't necessarily air like in 1970, but between here and the next date, which is in 1994, sometime in those 24 years is when these shows aired. I guess we already talked a lot about Zoom. And do you remember any of these other shows? Like, do you remember Big Comfy Couch?
No, I don't think I watched Big Comfy Couch. I watched Reading Rainbow.
I love Reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that reboot? Remember that? There was like a whole thing years ago where LeVar Burton was like, I'm making a Kickstarter to bring back Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, I wonder. He does a podcast now called LeVar Burton Reads to You.
I've heard about that.
I've not listened to, but I don't know. Maybe he had just like a few episodes on or something, or maybe it just didn't happen. I don't know.
If it did, I wouldn't have known because I did not back that Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I think it got like $2 million though.
Yeah. Oh, I bet lots of people donated.
I also vaguely remember hearing about that Kickstarter and remembering that like we're bringing back Reading Rainbow, but like it's for early childhood. So like, I guess it would make sense that I haven't heard of it.
Yeah. You wouldn't sit down and watch a book or an episode where they read a book for
because I
little
learned
babies.
Do you have any standout Reading Rainbow episodes? Because the one that I really remember, I guess there's two. Is that a Reading Rainbow episode? No, I think that was a Between the Lions episode. But the one Reading Rainbow episode I do remember, and it's just the very end after like the kids or whatever talk about their books that they've been reading.
Mm-hmm.
It's where LeVar goes and gets like a custom made jacket, and like he's talking to the camera and it's like, it looks like a normal jacket, but it's important to be yourself. And he like pulls down parts of his sleeve and it's like a rainbow, and then he flips out a pocket and there's a bird on it. You remember that?
No, wow. I honestly don't remember much specifics about Reading Rainbow. I remember there being a specific author that they would read from, but I don't remember that author's name. This is a very bad story. But there was also one where there's a puppet.
Puppet?
Yeah, there was a puppet, maybe of LeVar Burton. But I remember watching it and really enjoying LeVar Burton interacting with a puppet.
I do kind of remember some sort of puppet on Reading Rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
That theme song, also very good.
Yeah. No, just a banger theme song.
All of it great.
Yeah. And now as an adult, I've come to really like Star Trek: The Next Generation. And I know now that there was an episode of Reading Rainbow where he visits the set of the Enterprise, which is pretty cool.
Remember that episode.
I don't remember watching it as a kid.
I knew nothing about what was going on.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking, how does he see through that visor? The entire time, he shows like, and this is the visor that, what's his character's name?
Geordi LaForge.
Yeah. This is the visor that Geordi wears, and he puts it on. I just can't help but think, but like, how can you see?
How can you see through that? But, good question.
Yeah.
They never really answer. Well, they do answer it, but it doesn't really.
I mean, like practically, like how does LeVar see through that thing?
Oh yeah. I'm sure it just, yeah, it must just be clear.
Fast forwarding 1994, July 11, the 4 Kids block officially becomes something brand new called PTV. And this is where like it starts to get, I would say, more geared towards children. And I say that mostly because this is where we start to get mascots and like bumpers and everything. And this is where we start to get more of like that PBS Kids feel. But PTV was brought about due to the Ready to Learn initiative. And I think there's also some bumpers at the beginnings or ends of some shows where they mentioned Ready to Learn I don't remember what some shows, but like this show is brought to you by the Ready to Learn something. Maybe they used the word grant. I don't know. Because it was a grant, the Ready to Learn, because it was a grant.
Mentions of grants. Yeah.
The U.S. Department of Education provided a grant to fund the development of educational television and digital media targeted at preschool and early elementary school children and families, especially those that lived in low-income communities. So that was the Ready to Learn initiative. It's a little blurb that was pulled from another familiar name, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Oh,
yeah, another set of words that I think every kid has heard and has no idea.
Oh, it just goes right over their heads.
You treat it as like one word, like it's one thing.
Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
It's like I've heard it so much, and less than a word to me. It's like a sound. Like there is no meaning attached to it. I don't like think about what that even is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sound that happens on TV like after Arthur, you know. But as I mentioned earlier, this is where we get some mascots. This is where we get the P-Pals.
P-Pals.
Do you remember the PBS logo that kind of looked like a face that had like the nose?
Yeah.
Kind of looked like a head.
Yeah, I remember that one.
They just took those and made them like cartoons.
Yeah. And I remember those mascots, but I also, as a kid, like I didn't ever think of them as characters. I just always thought of like, I'm watching PBS. There's that green thing, that green kid. But I did not think of him beyond seeing him in the logo.
Mm-hmm.
Did you?
I don't have a lot of memories regarding the P-Pals. Like I watched some videos and like some bumpers that
It is
featured them.
hilarious that they're called the P-Pals.
Yeah, the P-Pals.
You know what? Who I call the P-Pals?
Who?
The Russians and Donald Trump's sex tape. They're real P-Pals, allegedly.
I remember like there was an air of familiarity when I saw little clips of them,
Sure.
looking them up, but I could not definitively say like I remember sitting down as a kid and seeing like these little guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. But from here we start to get more shows that are like more recognizable. Not more recognizable, but like the repertoire starts to build during this period from 1994 to the next rebrand in 1999. We get Barney, we get Arthur, we get Kratz Creatures, we get Zaboomafoo.
I love Zaboomafoo and Kratz Creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, Zaboomafoo really sucked me in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That claymation in the middle.
Oh yeah, in Zabuland.
Mm-hmm.
Zaboomafoo was really good. The transition though from real lemur to puppet lemur always like was whiplash for me.
It's jarring.
Yep.
Because it wasn't slow. It was just like he would like run into the thing and
Well, he would
come
like
out.
spin on the thing.
Oh,
he would
yeah,
like
yeah,
eat,
yeah.
He would eat
That's
a snack
right.
and he would spin around and then he would like be fine to talk.
That's right. I forgot about that.
But I think there was just a thing with like the puppet just not looking enough like a real lemur.
No, not at all.
Where like my disbelief was shattered.
Was his name Zaboomafoo or was his name Zabu?
His full legal name is Zaboomafoo.
His Christian name?
His Christian name is Zaboomafoo.
Okay.
But his friends call him Zabu.
Okay. I remember being very confused about that as a kid. And honestly, up until right now.
Yeah. I watched some Arthur episodes earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, more of just an episode and really just half of an episode now that I really think about it.
Which one?
It was one, and I think it's a newer episode, but it was one where Francine, what did she have? What was it for? It was for Yom Kippur, and she was having to do a fast, but then she couldn't keep her mind off of eating, and then she ended up eating a pizza at Arthur's house.
Fucking Arthur. Always ruining Francine's plans. I have not seen that one, but I did see, that reminds me of the episode where she is going to have her bat mitzvah and she also wants to be in a bowling team. And so she like is riding a bike back and forth in between the bat mitzvah and the bowling
Oh, I remember that.
tournament.
Yeah, and then like she makes a mistake and then ends up wearing her bowling shirt to the bat mitzvah.
Yeah, or vice versa or something like that. Yeah.
I do remember that. I feel like Arthur was the only TV show that ever taught me about like Jewish culture.
Yeah, that definitely taught me about bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs. And
Wasn't George also Jewish?
The moose?
Yeah.
No, he was a ventriloquist.
I thought he also was
If
Jewish.
anything, he's this joke would have been good if I could think of it at the exact moment that I wanted to think of it. George is a incel. That's what it is. He's got that creepy giraffe ventriloquist, and that's the only way he can talk. George is definitely going to be an incel when he's 18.
Yeah, probably. I remember watching that episode and the bit where he like puts his that like giraffe's face into paint, I couldn't help but think like, you're ruining the puppet.
Oh yeah. And he puts it in like ice cream and stuff too.
Like, what are you doing? You're ruining it.
Yeah. He wasn't taking care of he was not taking good care of his stuff.
No, absolutely not. We also get like vehicle shows like JJ the Jet Plane and Theodore Tugboat.
JJ the Jet Plane, 2 thumbs down, weird animation.
Very strange.
So bad.
Still
Even as a kid being
a lot
like,
of it.
I would watch it occasionally, but every time I remember thinking like, God, these guys looked fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Like Thomas the Tank Engine, even Theodore Tugboat, pretty good. Like it's like real. You can tell it's like real stuff.
Yeah,
they're like doing stop
miniatures.
Motion. Yeah, but boy, JJ the Jet Plane, which granted it probably was their first like attempt at like a computer generated show.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's an early CG show.
Ooh, it was just bad looking.
Yep, that is very true. This is also where we get Bill Nye.
Bill Nye and JJ the Jet Plane were the same era.
Mm-hmm.
That is bonkers.
At the very least, that's when they were airing on PBS. Because the thing that made it really difficult finding things for like, there was no list of like these shows like aired or premiered on PBS at this time. So I had to like look for like, I ended up finding like station documents for like, these are the shows that will play. And this is like the educational benefit for children, like for these shows, and like a whole bunch of that stuff. And like trying to piece together like when, like what shows aired when, based on like very poorly made YouTube videos. So it's, I don't know. It was kind of difficult to like really look into like, well, when did this really air, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Sure.
Yeah, Bill Nye around this time.
Bill Nye, excellent show.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I remember seeing it occasionally as a kid, but really like watching it in like elementary school and middle school, like in school.
Did you ever, when they wheeled in the TV cart?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. It's like, we're going to watch Bill Nye. It's like, oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember Beekman's World?
No, I never saw Beekman's World.
Man.
I've seen references to it on like Reddit and Twitter, but I've never watched it.
Yeah. It was kind of like I don't know, like a discount Bill Nye, but still just as fun and educational. Little weird. It was like if Bill Nye was on IFC.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was weird. You had like talking penguins that like kind of fourth wall broke the show because they were watching the show on a TV in Antarctica. And I was like, what is this?
An interesting premise.
And they would do like Mystery Science 3000 like commentary like over Beekman's World. It was very strange.
That is strange.
There was a weird rat man too.
Oh no.
Yeah, there was a guy that was just dressed up like
a rat?
Like a rat.
Like Splinter?
Worse.
Oh.
He was like, it was so strange, but taught me science. So I'm not gonna argue with a rat man.
Can't argue with the rat man.
What, any other notable shows during this? Oh yeah, Magic School Bus.
Oh fuck, Magic School Bus.
In the one episode, I think everyone probably remembers.
Where Arnold kills himself?
Yeah, when he takes off his helmet when they're in space and his head turns into ice. Yeah,
yes.
That freaked me out.
That freaked me out too, because he should have died. And then he just has a cold the next day. They don't even like show him getting back to Earth. I remember the first time he did that thinking he actually died.
It's because they animate his head freezing.
Yeah. And why? Do you remember why he wants to die? Because he's
Wasn't
like,
he upset about something and
pissed about something so much because of his cousin Janet. She does something to piss him off so much so that he seemingly knowingly kills himself.
He just takes his helmet off in space.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Freaked me out.
Yeah. We should rewatch that episode. It's probably on Netflix, right? I think Magic School Bus is on Netflix.
I think it's on that. I don't know if it's classic episodes. I think they're making new episodes.
Oh, I bet we could find it on YouTube or something.
We can find it somewhere.
But I just want to remember why Arnold fucking dies.
Yeah, wow, what a crazy episode. I also remember an episode where they travel in the bloodstream.
Yeah.
When like
their own version
wasn't like the blonde like the blonde girl have to eat them or something like that?
What? A white blood cell? I do not remember this part. But it would make sense because in the original movie Fantastic Voyage, the white blood cell tries to eat their little like ship that goes into the
I'm talking about how the bus got in the body.
Don't they go up in? I thought it was.
Or do they go up the nose?
I thought it was Ralphie's nose. Is there 2 episodes? Oh, there's one in the bloodstream.
I'm thinking of the
one in the stomach.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just had a. I mean, that's also production wise. Look at all these topics. Look at all these episodes that we don't really have to think up of.
Yeah,
just all the different body parts.
You change the kid who's in what, or who they're in, and then
Yeah. Honestly, like really thinking back about it, what a good show for teaching biology, like human anatomy. Way to go.
yeah, definitely where I learned most about white blood cells. No, that's a lie. Osmosis Jones.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What a weird. That was also a weird movie.
It was
I remember renting that.
weird combination of cartoon and live action.
What was the pill's name?
Drix and all.
Yeah.
Played by David Hyde Pierce,
Wow.
which is weird because David Hyde Pierce kind of like he's Niles Crane in Frasier, and he's kind of like a little wimpy guy. But in Osmosis Jones, he's like a big tough pill. And if that's not content for this podcast, I don't know what is.
I was going to say that maybe one day Niles could be a big tough pill.
He already was one big tough pill. That's what Frasier would say. Actually, Frasier would probably say, I don't know. I haven't seen enough Frasier to do the Frasier thing.
Me neither. The next rebrand for PBS Kids occurs on September 6, 1999. And this is where I think we start to get like the PBS Kids that the two of us really know, because this is where we get the mascots, like the boy and the girl.
Right, right.
Yeah, Dot and Dash. They have names. They got Morse code names. This is where, and a lot of the shows that we were talking about earlier also premiered during this like rebrand. So we get Between the Lions, we get Dragon Tales, we get Clifford, we get Cyberchase, we get Caillou. Oh, hold on. We get Caillou.
That one might need a reverb. We get Caillou. Yeah, there we go. That sounded right.
We also get some shows that I also watched that we didn't mention, like Liberty's Kids and Sagwa.
Oh yeah. I remember those.
Yep. Both. I watched a lot of Liberty's Kids.
I occasionally watched it, but I felt kind of bored by it.
Honestly,
which is probably because I was a stupid child.
That show made 7th grade history so easy.
Really?
Yep. Because 7th grade history was U.S. history. And it was pretty much, I would, at that point, I think I already watched most of the episodes. And then 7th grade rolls around and it's like, I already know who Benedict Arnold is. I got that down pat.
He's the guy who came up with the eggs.
The Hessians, I know they wore green.
Is that true?
I don't know. That's what they wore in Liberty's Kids.
Okay. Is that what you put on your test?
Yeah, they wore green.
A+. Josh. Tyra.
I did it.
Cyberchase. That was one that I really liked as I was kind of like, getting older. I feel like that was a more mature, the thinking kids PBS show. But that's pretty cool. And like, that's kind of how I feel like I got to know like some famous like actors like Christopher Lloyd and
Gilbert Gottfried
were both, like on that show every episode. And yeah, they're both like huge names. And now I feel like I really enjoy both of their work. And that was a big part of why, I think.
Yeah, nice introduction.
Yeah. And also it was interesting, like a lot of the math trivia that they had on that show. Like, I think a lot of that legitimately helped me. Like most of the shows, I feel like I really never got the educational parts of it. Because I felt like it was either like stuff I already knew, or it was like stuff where I was like, that's dumb. That's for babies. But Cyberchase, I feel like I was like, oh, it's actually pretty interesting about like area, like versus square feet and stuff like that.
The thing that Cyberchase did for math was that it provided as best as it could, like within a storyline, like a practical application.
Yeah.
Like this is how you would use it in the real world, probably. So
yeah, like I remember specifically there was that episode where like they're on like the Western planet and the hacker is accused of taking up too much land for his yard because like they're only allowed a certain amount of area for each of their like land.
They calculate the area.
And then like they just assume it's too much because of the shape, but then they do math with the shape and realize he's actually innocent and they like help him flee or like get out of the. They like go to bat for him in court or something.
Yeah,
Which
something.
I don't know why you'd let 3 kids be your lawyer in court, but that's what he did.
Why not? Well,
He's the hacker, not the lawyer. All right.
Whoa. I always liked Between the Lions more than I did Sesame Street. I think those are 2 pretty comparable shows.
Well, yeah, both were very like puppety and had kind of a. They were okay with doing like kind of ridiculous things.
Mm-hmm.
I think I prefer Sesame Street just because like I'm a big Henson guy. I like the Muppets. I love the Muppets. Sesame Street
are good.
Same vein. Yeah. But I think Between the Lions, I would appreciate more now, honestly. Like if I was watching it with a kid, like I'd be like, oh yeah, that's pretty funny. But some of it was like too out there for me, like just as a child.
You didn't like seeing dancing meat?
No. And that one guy who would do his dance in his smarty pants
Oh yeah.
with his mom.
I don't think he ever did it with his. I don't think he ever.
His mom was in every bit there.
I don't. Are you talking about Smarmy Marmy?
Yeah, is that not?
I don't think that's his mom.
Why is her name Marmy then? Who was she?
I don't know. She was just a Smarmy Marmy.
What the? Yeah, see, exactly. As a kid, I remember being like, "Who is this? Who is that?" There was just too much weird stuff.
That was
happening.
one of the shows where I just accepted all of it. I was like, yes, this is fine.
I could not. I don't know what it was. I didn't like hate it, but I remember being like, "This is weird," and I'm not gonna get invested.
There was a lot of jokes in that show too that like I'm just now thinking of like that as a joke. Like there was so it takes place in a library.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the Barnaby B. Busterfield Library, I think. And there's a statue of Barnaby B. Busterfield III. And he's like an actual character too, like a puppet. And there's 2 pigeons that hang around him that just like bother him. And they're, I don't know, pretty dumb pigeons. But their names are Walter and Clay Pigeon. And I just now realized that the Clay Pigeon is a joke.
Is Walter Pigeon a joke?
I don't know.
Or is it just funny because it's Walter Pigeon? That is funny just on its own.
I don't, if it is a joke, I don't understand it. But I get the Clay Pigeon joke, and I think that's pretty clever. Yeah, I don't know. Funny show. Really good. The next little, like, not really reboot or rebrand or anything, but in 2004, they introduced a spin-off of PBS Kids called PBS Kids Go. And PBS Kids Go is to PBS Kids as the Mighty Kids Meal is to the Happy Meal, wherein PBS Kids Go was just aimed at a slightly older demographic of children. And that's where, like, I don't know, I feel like the content for it is, I don't know, maybe just a little bit for like older kids too. Because the one show in like the list of shows that premiered during this time that I really remember thinking like, yeah, this is like right up like my alley is Fetch with Ruff Ruffman.
Oh, see, I never started watching that. I remember seeing clips of it occasionally, but it was never my jam.
Yeah, I really liked it. I was like, oh, cool. It's like a game show. This is kind of fun. And like, oh, there's like little challenges. And like, oh, I enjoy this. And I think I also liked it because it was new. It was the kind of thing where there weren't really a lot of new shows that showed up on PBS. And so when one did show up, it was like, oh, yeah, new show. But other like shows that premiered during this time, we've got Maya and Miguel, Word Girl, Postcards from Buster. Electric Company got rebooted during this time. Wild Kratts is also the new Kratt Brothers. Oh, that was a cartoon, show.
Right?
Yeah. I think that's maybe still airing, or at least some sort of new Kratt Brothers show. But yeah, that's it for like this era. This era. PBS Kids Go only lasts for 9 years. Eventually they phase out PBS Kids Go, and I think they all just put everything into one whole thing. So PBS Kids Go ends on October 7, 2013, which coincided with another like design rebrand. They update the style, they update the bumpers, they update a whole bunch of stuff. Curiously, they replace Dash, like the older brother mascot. They replace him with 2 little kids. They keep Dot, and they introduce Del and D, just like little
twerps.
Just a bunch of little twerps.
Little fucking twerps.
And that pretty much brings us to where we are today with like PBS Kids, which I know nothing about. other than like some shows are still airing, like Arthur, like still brand new episodes of Arthur are coming out.
Yeah, I heard that Mr. Ratburn is gay now.
Mr. Ratburn is gay.
Which tracks all along, which I appreciate.
So there's shows like Arthur that are still aired and are still airing and new episodes are coming out, but then a bunch of shows that I've never heard of, like Xavier Riddle and the Secret Museum and Peg plus Cat and another cat show, Nature Cat. Like, I don't know what any of these are. So
Yeah,
I have
I
no
never heard
attachment to
about that.
these, so whatever.
Somebody can start a podcast about all these in like 20 years.
Yeah. They can make their own nostalgia podcast where they talk about their favorite memories of Molly of Denali. But I mean, that's pretty much that for PBS Kids. Just a great time to watch TV after school
Or before.
or in the summer all
or
day.
when you're sick.
When you're sick, you watch PBS Kids until it's time to watch The Price is Right.
Or the movie you rented for the third time.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I have very fond memories of PBS Kids, as I'm sure many people our age do.
Yeah, I think so.
Good, it's a good time. I still watch, like, every now and then we would watch, like when we lived together, we would just watch episodes of Arthur.
Yeah. Or we'd get drunk and yell at episodes of Caillou.
Yeah. Man, even like what, 10, 15 years, 20 years down the line,
Yeah. Some of that stuff, I don't know if I'd use the phrase holds up.
it still entertains us to this day.
Yeah.
And you can't say that about a lot of things. Well, you got any closing thoughts on any shows or PBS Kids in general, Paul?
I'm glad that I wasn't on Zoom. Probably would have done stuff that now I would look at and be like, not funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's my main takeaway from this, honestly.
You're glad you weren't on Zoom.
I'm glad I wasn't on Zoom. I was not mature enough. Wouldn't have done well. Couldn't have handled it.
I guess that takes care of it for our episode on PBS Kids. I'm adding something to plug time. I'm adding iTunes reviews.
Whoa.
We got a couple reviews from iTunes.
Nice.
Let's read them, shall we?
Sure.
We've got one here titled OSRS Fan. And it says, I've only listened to the trailer so far and was sold on Old School RuneScape in the library. Looking forward to hearing more.
Me too.
Well, good news for you. You got like 3 episodes. You got 3 more episodes to listen to. You got so much
the
more.
trailer.
Yeah. Well, I hope you listened to the first episode.
Me too.
We also got another 5-star iTunes review. This one's titled Going on a Nostalgia Trip. Want to read it, Paul?
So they say, I don't know why nostalgia is such a good feeling, but I love it. I was reminded of so many nostalgic things while listening to Josh and Paul talk. It's sometimes weird to think that other people are nostalgic for the same things as you because it's hard to explain just why remembering weird things like your Grimace toy from childhood can make you feel so good. I can't wait to see what nostalgia trip they'll bring each episode.
Thank you so much for leaving those reviews. If you enjoyed the show as much as they did, we'd really appreciate it if you left a review as well. Additionally, one of the best ways you can help us out is to share the show with your friends and tell them about us. If you've got any fond memories of PBS Kids, feel free to share them over on Twitter @NostalgiaSystem or send us an email, nostalgiasystempodcast@gmail.com. Additional support for the show can be given on Patreon at patreon.com/nostalgiaentertainmentsystem. We've currently got a goal of $40 per month, and that covers all of our hosting. If we can meet that goal, this show will be self-sustaining. Finally, thank you to MoonRayker Music for composing our theme song Scanlines. You can find them all over the internet at MoonRayker or at MoonRayker Music. That's Moon, RAYKER. Paul, you got any plugs?
Nope, nothing today.
All right. You can find me on Patreon, patreon.com/Darumaparty. Same thing for Instagram and same thing for Twitch. That's DARUMA Party. That's all I got. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Paul, what are we talking about next week?
Next week, we're talking some Star Wars video games.
Whoa! Bye.